color vision deficiency, or color blindness, affects 8% of men and 1 in every 200 women. I am one of these people. I have difficulty distinguishing between red and green colored objects, so this prompted our group to wonder whether deep learning could be used to help with this. And after some research, we came across one research paper in particular that uses deep learning to create a color correction program that can aid with object recognition for colorblind people. The architecture that we used in this project was inspired by GANs. So it's composed of two main modules. The first is called the corrector. So the corrector applies a linear corrector layer and some convolutional layers to color correct images to offset the effects of 3 different types of color blindness. So after the images are run through our corrector, we pass them through a color blindness simulator and then to our final module, which is called the referee. The referee uses dense layers, convolutional layers, and some data augmentation to classify images on the CFAR 100 dataset. So the goal of the corrector is to correctly train filters to minimize the referee loss.
Yeah, so some of the results we got, what worked is that we're actually able to generate some images and apply filters that seem to be based on like the type of color blindness that we were looking at, applying useful filters for those people to actually be able to see better. So we think that if we kept on going, we'd be able to accomplish like very similar results to what the paper did. But one of our problems was we just didn't have the computational resources that the people in the paper did. So they trained on much more detailed images and on large data sets and for many epochs. So all of that in combination meant that we didn't get accuracy particularly close to what the paper got, and we also didn't get accuracy particularly close to like what some of the leading just normal convolutional filters usually get. So yeah.
So we learned a lot from this project, and one of the main things was how to implement a GAN or GAN-like architecture. Another thing that we learned was how to train a model with a more complex training regimen. In most of the assignments in class, there was just training and testing phases, but in this project, there were actually 3 different subsets of the data, and each model was trained on a different subset. So it was very useful to see how training on different subsets of the data could complicate the training process.
Yeah. So finally, if there's one thing that we want you to take away from this project, I guess, is that even in the original paper, we observed the best they could do with all their computational resources was get basically a slightly better result than like convolutional filters that like humans had come up with before. So considering the amount of computational resources that this requires, we just thought maybe it's not the best use of computational resources and deep learning to apply to all problems. So if you can afford that, then by all means, but sometimes they're better utilized elsewhere, I guess.